Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Got another episode here of Fourth and Over It. Pretty exciting week last week here in the NFL world. Biggest game. We may have a contender for game of the year. Packers Cowboys. Micah's return to Dallas. Young up and coming Packers team that look the part so far. Defense has been really what they able to hang their hat on with a young offense. Cowboys' lack of defense and lack of continuity on the offensive side, just not really making it happen. But really back and forth game. 40-40 tie. You don't see too many of those. It's just a crazy game. That game went really, really back and forth. Dak looked the part offensively, really moved the ball around a lot. George Pickens exploded on the scene. A lot of people saying that George Pickens wouldn't be the guy without Lamb in the lineup. You know, George Pickens needs someone to take the pressure off of him. But all of those to bed. Every single one of those rumors, stuff it in a box. He stuffed that whole defense in a box. He looked really, really sharp out there. So excited to see what George Pickens does. I think Lamb probably out another 2 to 3 weeks with the ankle, toe, foot injury, something along those lines. Really excited to see him. Javonte Williams looks really good as well. Really good games out of him this first 4 weeks. Really invigorated his career, I'd say. He wasn't doing much there in Denver. Kind of written off from his injuries, but he looks back. He looks healthy. And with that, so does the Cowboys offense. Storylines at the end of the game, really good chance Dak gets into that end zone if they don't have Micah Parsons. Funny that they wrote it up as a sack, even though it definitely was a rush, but in the NFL it is still a show, and game-saving sack by Micah Parsons keeps the Cowboys from winning. Certainly draws more headlines than, Dak stopped for a 0-yard rush. But a great game. Could possibly overtake, the Bills versus Ravens? I don't know about that because that game, to me, was more exciting to watch. But those final 2 minutes, they're just going back and forth. You saw the Packers score, and then the Cowboys just walked it down the field and got them into overtime. Both going back and forth with field goals. Kind of crazy. Just a crazy game. But, that was I think, the most exciting game for the world of football. For myself, watching the Pats just absolutely destroy the Panthers was a joy to see. Needed a game like that. We've had so many games. We're only 4 games in, but out of the 3 games prior, we close games that, like, some mental mistakes, turnover problems that holding us back from getting some victories. I think we really should have had. I think a lot of us feel that way. I know you listen to the coaches and players after the games. They feel that, there's games that we've lost, not that the other teams won. So to come out and, to be honest, at first our defense looked like garbage. Bryce Young looked like he was going to go for MVP. He was just moving the ball. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the passing attack. But, we kind of locked in there, got our wits about us. And then special teams, Patriots special teams, it's something we've always hung our hat on, more so than ever this year. We have, 3 special team touchdowns, I think, this season so far already. Just really, really good stuff out of the special teams. Drake May looking great. I think he missed 4 passes. He had one of them that looked like a jump pass they threw into the dirt. Other than that, I feel like he had a complete game, his first real good decision, complete game. Wasn't asked to do a lot, let's be honest here. Defense and special teams were really carrying that game, but good to see him do it. Good to see Travion Henderson get into the end zone. A couple more touches there for him. He still looks kind of lost in the pass block, which is going to prevent him from being on the field, and going to keep Ramondre and Gibson on the field, which, again, still do not feel comfortable with their ability to not fumble the football. But good game out of both of them. Neither of them did fumble. Shout out the Pats. Very excited for what the season's going to come to be. Falcons had a good win. They put up like 37 points. I'd have to look it up. The main story is Penix. I was talking a lot of trash last week about Penix. Kirk Cousins should replace him. Guy can't move the ball. Finished the game over 300 yards passing. Drake London just catching anything and everything. I think he had like 9 or 10 targets, 8 catches, over 100 yards. And I'd also say the real story is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts for 7 years now has been the guy. And year 8, he is looking like the guy that a lot of people said he was going to be. This athletically gifted receiver that's playing tight end in this huge body of his. I think he finished the game with 70 or more yards, another touchdown. So Kyle Pitts is making his way through the season so far. If he stays healthy, to finally be that top 10, maybe a top 6 tight end. We'll kind of see where he finishes the year, again, based on health and again, based on Penix. And Bijan, I mean, what more can you say? Bijan Robinson is Bijan Robinson. I feel like you have a name Bijan, like you're naturally going to be gifted athletically. And boy, is he. He had 100 yards receiving, 70, 80 yards on the ground. The guy can do it all. Early favorite for Offensive Player of the Year, I'd say. Obviously MVP goes to the quarterback position. It's kind of stupid in my mind, but, I don't get a vote, so it doesn't matter what I think. But Bijan looks the part. He's going to probably finish fantasy football season #1 player overall. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, based on the pace that he's really putting these points up. What's next? Ravens. Shit. Speaking of running backs and running and football teams, the Ravens, man. Is it time? We sound the alarm? You sound an alarm if you're in Baltimore? I mean, this is a Super Bowl favorite that is staring at currently a 1-3, staring at 1-4. Derrick Henry, game 1, looked himself. Had a big fumble, but he still looked like Derrick Henry. Since that point, Derrick Henry looks subpar at best, at the absolute best. It's just not effective running. I don't know if it's not effective gameplay calling, I should say. But it's just not very effective what Derrick Henry is bringing to the table. And Lamar, that was probably Lamar's first game that he didn't look good. Big matchup, of course. It was Chiefs versus the Ravens. Those teams play each other very hard all the time. But you felt going to that game that the Chiefs were going to absolutely get smoked. Like, they just don't have the team that they're used to having. But they came out and they looked really good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, it was very much a Patrick Mahomes game. His calmness, his poise in the pocket, his way to move the pocket around, the right passes, the right calls, and they did a lot of things right. And then defensively, they really shut down Lamar, where Lamar couldn't get outside the pocket. Lamar couldn't do what he's really good at, which is making defenses break down via his ability to move the pocket around and find these open passes or find these running lanes. It was not the game you thought. It went completely opposite of how I thought that game was going to go. And, then we turn out Lamar. Does he have a hamstring injury? Did he give up on his team? I don't think Lamar's the type of guy to give up on his team. Just not who he is, but he looked like shit. He looked like trash in that game, so I can see the rumors and why it's all happening. But I think it is a hamstring. With that, on top of the 1-3 record, it is make or break time. I mean, this run could be over real quick if Lamar misses 2 to 3 games. You don't have Lamar Jackson out there for 2 to 3 games. I'm sorry. I think it's Cooper Rush is the backup, if I'm not mistaken. He's not going to do it. That's not going to be a winning. He can't bring what Lamar brings to that team. So if you miss Lamar for 2 or 3 weeks, you finish those 2 3 weeks, maybe get 1 victory. I'd have to look at their schedule for the next 3 weeks, but maybe you squeeze out 1 victory and you're 2-6? Not where you want to be and trying to make it to the playoffs. These injuries, man, we are 4 weeks in. So many notable names are just done for the year. Some on defense, obviously less notable names. You don't really know a ton of defensive player names, but we had the quarterback injuries that have started the season. Saw some running back injuries, but minor. And then now receivers. I mean, You got Malik Neighbors tearing the ACL on a poorly thrown ball by Jackson Dart. It was so exciting to watch those two. It looked good for that first quarter that they were together. That looked like a combination that was going to work. Jackson Dart looks like the guy that can really sling that ball, and he can run. I hate the Giants, so I don't want to say. He reminds me of early on Drake May, but he was dropping some of those passes with a nice touch that Drake May dropped his rookie season. But then a lot of things with the legs, like when things would break down, very confident in using his legs and making people miss. I don't know, unfortunate for Jackson Dart and his growth to lose your number one receiver in Malik Neighbors. So Malik Neighbors is a game-changing receiver, and now you don't have that. It's going to be a lot of Cam Scatterable moving forward, I believe. Theo Johnson. If Theo Johnson's available, go get Theo Johnson. He's a very athletically gifted tight end. Looked really good at the end of last year. Like 4 or 5 games into last year, was getting up there like 70, 80 yards. We'll see what that offense looks like. We'll see what Dart looks like moving forward without having that number one receiver. And then the most gross injury in recent memory, Tyreek Hill's knee. I mean, the still shot of that image. Good. I mean, that whole leg was turning the wrong way. Tore basically every, put a letter in front of LC or CL, I should say. It's absolutely torn. It's gone. It's shredded. Definitely done for the year. I've also never seen someone so excited to not have to play for the Dolphins or to literally snap their leg, dislocate their entire leg, and be happy about it. Smiling, waving. Dude hated playing for the Dolphins. He's, I'm pretty sure, quite excited that he was no longer a Miami Dolphin. The Dolphins, I think, are going to just carry on and just not be very good. I don't think they get much worse because I don't think Tyreek Hill was doing much for them. High expectations, but he really wasn't breaking open games like I think they all wanted Tyreek Hill to be doing. So Waddle's their number one. I think Waddle's a true number one, so maybe that helps with some clarity in the offense. They still have A-Chain. Was it Darren Waller? Shout out Darren Waller coming back. 2-touchdown game. Love to see it. Darren Waller, if he's available in your fantasy football leagues, go pick him up. Big body, going to get a lot of red zone targets. I mean, Jonathan Smith had his best year last year. We're running this same style offense. I think they're going to run a very similar style offense where the tight end's going to be involved. And if Darren Waller is available, please do yourself the favor and go pick up Darren Waller. But yeah, it's week 4. Week 4, a lot of games, a lot of new narratives out there. Bills still looking. Bills, I think, have the AFC, you want to say, kind of on lockdown right now. A little scare at the start of that game. They just couldn't stop. The Saints looked for a second like they were a real football team, and then in the second half turned back into the Saints and couldn't really move the ball as well. But the Bills, they look like the AFC is theirs for the taking. NFC, we got an NFC that's really doing well right now. I mean, Eagles look really good. So yeah, I mean, we could be looking at Bills, Eagles shutting down Tampa Bay. Granted, Tampa Bay with some injuries, so we'll see what happens on that side. But so far, I'd say Eagles are looking like they're going to run it back, and the Bills are a team that's standing in the way. Unless this could be the turning point for the Chiefs. We'll see when the Chiefs get Rice back. They can obviously be heavily more involved, then that offense will get much more completed. But on to week 5, we got tonight, 49ers, Rams, Thursday night football. Rams, I believe, a huge favorite. 7.5, 8.5 point favorite tonight. A 43.5. Rams 8.5 point spread. Playing in the Rams stadium. So I like both 3-1. Both these teams are 3-1. I like both of these teams. I like this game. It should be a fun game tonight. A lot of points. Stafford, the back injury definitely is not bothering him. Puka Nacua is playing lights out right now. Every game is like averaging over 100 yards, I'm pretty sure, receiving right now. He's playing so well. And then the 49ers, you got Christian McCaffrey kind of doing Christian McCaffrey things. So that should be a really good matchup. I like the Rams. I don't know if they have an 8.5 point spread in them. I'd probably take that back inside of 3. I like the Rams by 3. Field goal. Definitely under a touchdown. They're not going to win by more than a touchdown. I do like the over, though. I do think it's a back and forth game. I don't think either of these defenses are that great, if I'm being honest. So I like the over. I like the Rams, definitely Rams money line and the over. But, I would take the Rams alternate spread, like somewhere between 2.5 and a 4.5 point spread. Because they do just have a far better offense, can score more points. But definitely, I love the over. The over is going to be, I think the over is a lock in this game. Next game that I'm looking at, it's funny how these kind of all broke down, but the next game that I really like is the Vikings-Browns London game, 9:30 in the morning. Nothing like waking up to, football is already going for the most part. I mean, maybe up a little bit earlier, but football is kicking off pretty much at wake-up time. You're grabbing that coffee and kickoff's happening at the same time. So this is a good game. A super 35.5 over-under. I love the over in this game. Absolutely love the over in this game. Vikings 3.5 point favorites. I like that as well. Gabriel's first start, going to come to London. I don't know much about him. Don't know his college stats. I didn't see any of their preseason games. So all I do know is he's clearly shown he's more mature than Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is acting like a grown-up child out here. Skill-wise, Shedeur Sanders should, in my mind, again, I don't know anything about Gabriel, but Shedeur Sanders should be the guy. I've watched Shedeur Sanders play. He's got a winning resume. But for some reason, this coaching staff doesn't like him. And a lot of people want to say this, that, or the other thing. His most recent interview, being asked about it, and not using any words, just mouthing answers and thinking it's funny, and it's like, you're going to have this viral clip of you. The NFL don't want that. The NFL does not give a damn about that. They want professionals. These are billion-dollar companies that you're out here representing, and they want to win football games. And maturity is what matters to them. If you're not mature, they're not going to put you in there. They just don't think you're going to make the right decision. I don't think he's going to start a game for the Browns at this point, unless injuries happen. I think the Browns absolutely regret drafting him. No matter what discount they got on him, I would regret it. I don't care how gifted you are. You want to start on this team, start acting like it. Start doing the work. Put in the work. There's a reason why. There's an absolute reason why. And Shedor's he's going to look himself in the mirror and ask himself, because people that point fingers at everyone else, usually if you're pointing fingers all around you, the only one you should be pointing to is yourself. But I love the Vikings in this game. Jordan Mason is going to run through that defense. He looks phenomenal right now because the Browns defense didn't look that good last week. So we'll see. But I think the Vikings have this game, and I think they have it handily. Depending on if the Browns can score points, I do love the over because it's 35.5. I think the Vikings could put up 28 themselves. So that means the Browns have to score under a touchdown. Unlikely. And then brings it to my favorite game of the week, Pats Bills, Sunday Night Football, under the lights. Everybody's watching. It doesn't get any bigger than this. For Pats fans, this is our biggest game of the year, our biggest test, the only team that's really in front of us from getting back to the glory land that we're so used to is this Buffalo Bills team. It's Josh Allen. He is as good as advertised, and we play him tough. Josh knows he has to get up for a game against New England. We get up for this game. The players get up for this game. This is something that we're going to take extremely seriously. After how well our defense played last week, I love this matchup. The Bills right now 7.5 point favorites. Give me 7.5 points. I love it. Maybe I'm living off the high of last week and how dominant we looked on defense and special teams and just how good Drake May looked. The offense as a whole, I mean, Diggs looked good. Hunter Henry still looking good. So I think we pose more of a problem than Vegas wants to give us and then a lot of the league wants to give us. Drake May, this could be his best game or his worst game. I don't think there's any in between. I think it's his best or his worst. Either he's going to play a complete game of football like we just saw, or he's going to try to do too much and kind of get in his own way. Some turnovers are going to happen. It's going to be cold. up in Buffalo, nighttime. Well, I guess it's early fall. I don't know. It's getting cold here in New England, so I know up in Buffalo it's going to be even colder than it is here. Big game, over 49.5. I do think I like the over because I think it's a back and forth game. James Cook is so good at football. They're so lucky that they re-signed him. Because they don't have James Cook, I think that offense really does fall apart. But having James Cook in that steady, he can pick up 6 to 8 yards, I feel like, at any time right now. Just really, really good vision running the ball. And so he's going to get him down the field. Josh Allen's going to be able to move the ball with his feet, just extend plays like Josh Allen does. I think Keon Coleman will have himself a good game. It's interesting to see who Gonzalez will be locked up on. If Shakir is kind of their go-to receiver, steady hands throughout the entire game. He's going to see the majority of targets. But Keon Coleman has impressed so far this year and makes big catches. So I think it's going to be a back and forth game. I'm leaning towards the over, but I mean, it's 50 points. So that's a lot for a Sunday night game against two division rivals. Division game, I'm going to go under. I like the Pats plus 7.5, and I like the under a lot. This is a rivalry game. Speaking of rivalry game, the Bills are going to be wearing the rivalry jerseys, which should be very excited to see that. I wish the Pats are wearing theirs. I mean, we're part of the grouping that has our rivalry jerseys available. We don't get to wear us until against playing the Jets week 11. I want Bills, Pats wearing it. I think the Pats should just tell the NFL to go fuck off, and we're rocking our rivalry jerseys against this game because the Bills jerseys look phenomenal. The Pats jerseys look phenomenal. If you haven't seen them, check them out. I love the color, that nor'easter storm blue, and then they got the white ice with the really nice baby blue numbers. I think those jerseys would pop against each other. Sunday Night Football. Like, what are we doing? Why are we not both wearing our rivalry jerseys on Sunday Night Football game? But big game, very, very, very excited for it. And then we got the Chiefs-Jags Monday Night Football. That should be a good game. See if the Chiefs kind of get back on it. The Jags surprisingly 3-1. I didn't really believe in the Jaguars. ETN still doing really well. Lawrence, I guess he's playing well. I don't watch a lot of Jaguars games. It's not something that intrigues me, so can't say much about him. 3-1, that record speaks for itself. Chiefs, I do watch a lot of football games. This is the first game last week that looked good. That offense looked like its old self. So we'll see. I think this will be a good game, Monday Night Football. I believe Chiefs are favored in this game, and if they're not, they should be. In my mind, I would rock the Chiefs in that game. So those are the games I'm looking for. This Sunday morning football game is going to be a really good game. Pats Bills, game of the week potential. In my eyes, definitely game of the week. Could be game of the week in the NFL, depending the back and forthness and how explosive these offenses can be. And if the defense lays down, this could also be a game of the year. I would love for it to get into the game of the year. Instant classic. It's always Bills Pats always have that classic feel to it. And then Chiefs Jags Monday Night Football. So all the big games are my big games. So at least the scheduling wise, the NFL did do well there. And then finally, wrap up the show. Sox Yanks. I'm not the biggest baseball guy. I'm not going to pretend to be the biggest baseball guy. But when the Red Sox are playing October baseball, Sox playoff baseball is... It was just, we didn't have it for so long. Like, growing up in New England, you were born into losing. I grew up, I had jerseys that didn't have names on the back of it, but instead it said break the curse, beat the curse. You were cursed. That's what you grew up knowing. Like, yeah, no, we're a great sports team. We love our sports teams, but we're cursed. It's just, there's nothing we can do about it. And we broke that curse. I remember just as joyous it was. And we just went on this run. And we don't take it for granted getting to this point. And you certainly don't take for granted playing against the Yankees. If you're a Sox fan, New Englander, and you got playoff baseball against the Yankees, you can feel it in your blood. You can just, like watching last night's game, that shit sucked. Absolutely sucked. I'm yelling at my TV. screaming about, error plays, bad pitching. I think Korsha took Whitlock out. That's on me. That's how I feel. I don't think Whitlock looked lost. Should have walked Grisham and put in Chapman to get Volpe out of there. Take the tie game into the ninth. We lost that game. I think we lost in the seventh with some base running and then the error. But we should not have. We played it wrong there in the eighth as well. So big game tonight. Big game tonight. Big game tonight. Rookie versus rookie, which should be fun. They have obviously far better batting lineup, but we've kind of really held them to bay and playing well. Trevor Story playing really well. Love what I'm seeing out of Story. Bregman could be better. I think he had some spots. He's a big name that you'd think you see a lot more out of him. I think tonight's biggest, how the Red Sox win tonight, because we are underdogs, far underdogs. I like that mentality. I like being underdogs. I think all of Boston enjoys that. Bet against us. It's we live off that shit. Tell me I can, and I fucking will. So with that, we need to jump on them. I don't want us taking pitches. Don't be giving that first strike up. We need to really make them work these at bats. If we get into their bullpen early, like they got into ours, I mean that's kind of in the story. Whoever's starter has been able to go longer. Looks like they're so far based off these two games. That's who's won the game. So I really want to see us get, if we can get that, knock their starter out pretty quickly, I like our odds. I think we lost game two. After the Yankees pretty much did everything they can do to lose game two, it looked like they were just trying to keep us in there. Boone kind of left us in there. I think he let their starter go too long, but it worked out in their favor. So who the fuck am I to say anything? But we had a real good chance of winning that game, and we gave it away. Absolutely gave it away. So I'm excited, very, very, very excited for tonight's game. Flexed it to 8 o'clock, obviously, with the Dodgers winning last night handily. So 8 o'clock game. It's maybe the only thing I'm upset about is like I really want to watch this football game, but as a Sox fan, you're not watching football. You're watching the Sox game. So with that is week 5. Appreciate you tuning in. Remember, like, subscribe, follow, share. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully, we all celebrate a Sox win tonight. So with that, appreciate you. Go Sox.